Hey Silverbacks, how are y'all doing this fine day? Coach Candice here with some Oli movement, some Oli coaching today. Okay, so let's talk about it. How many of us have seen a split jerk come up or a heavy clean and jerk in the open and we're like, I may be able to clean it, but I can't jerk it. Okay, so a lot of us have a heavier clean than we do jerk, and that's pretty common in everyday CrossFit. Okay, in the Oli world, we should be able to jerk more than we can clean because the idea is that once you stand up a heavy clean, you're exhausted, and if you stand it up, you better be able to put it up overhead. So the reason why we use the split jerk, guys, as you know, there's several different movements to get a bar from the chest to overhead. There is the straight press, which is just going up using absolutely no legs, all lats and traps, and delts and a whole lot of other muscles that go into that, right? There's just no leg drive, and it's just all upper body. Then there's the push press where you dip and drive up overhead. Then there is the push jerk where you dip, and that's the first time you actually jerk, right? Anytime you hear the jerk, it means that you drive down under the bar to receive it. In a push jerk, your feet still don't move. I call it kind of a no jump power jerk, right? We dip, drive, and drop underneath the bar. Then we have the power jerk, where we will drop down into the power position. Here, right? That's usually the hallmark. The push jerk and the power jerk are usually the go-to for CrossFitters. Okay? Then we start getting into split jerk. And I tell you, it gets kind of ugly from there, right? People don't understand how the split jerk works. So ideally, when we split jerk, we start in the standing position, right? We're gonna dip, drive, and we're gonna drive the bar off of our chest just enough to then push ourselves or drop underneath. As we drop underneath, we want to get our feet off the railroad tracks, right? And we want to drive straight down into the hips, right? We want this knee, this shin to be nice and vertical. We want our weight actually back on this back quad, and our front hamstring is engaged. We're not driving forward here. We are pushing straight down in our hips here. Front foot back first, back foot up second, right? Notice how it's not a step, it is a slide back. Okay, again, when we drive down into that split jerk, dip, drive, push down into your hips here, right? Push down, here, right? We want to drive down in our hips. My back quad is engaged, my front hamstrings are engaged here. I am not pushing, I'm not lunging forward. I am pushing down from the bar to receive it here. I'm going to slide my front foot halfway back. Then I'm going to step forward to meet it here. Okay? So, a lot of us are like, oh my God, which foot do I put forward? It doesn't matter. No, it really doesn't matter, guys. It matters. The only thing that matters is what's comfortable to you. So, typically speaking, right hand dominant will be left or right leg dominant. If you think about it, the leg that is back is actually the one taking most of the load. It's that quad. And that's why a lot of right-handed individuals will actually split with their left leg forward. Okay? Because their right quad and right hip flexor are actually taking the load here. Okay? Here, that's just a stabilizer. Then it's your right leg forward. For me, I'm right hand dominant. However, that's uncomfortable for me. I've torn a muscle here in my quad. It's no longer there. Therefore, to get into this position here in a heavy load, notice how the right knee turns in. That keeps the hips straight and forward. If my foot is straight like this, my hips get pulled, right? I want that knee pointing back toward this heel, okay? My front foot may even be canted in a little bit. That gets my hips nice and straight underneath the bar. This position is not comfortable for me under weight because I have that missing muscle. Therefore, I split like a left-handed dominant person normally would, right? Doesn't mean that one leg's any weaker than the other. It just means that it's more comfortable, okay? So, let's talk about how we find that split position. The way we're going to find that split position, it's called the split lunge finder method, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to stand with our feet right underneath our hips, okay? This is usually where we will dip from, okay? Then we're going to take a nice natural step forward. Notice, I didn't go directly forward, did I? I stepped off the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks that I always refer to are the hips, okay? If you've ever taken any kind of self-defense or anything like that, they'll tell you that when someone's coming at you to punch you, you step off the railroad tracks. Well, that's what I'm kind of referring to, is where your hips are, right? You want to step off the railroad tracks in a natural step. Notice how I did. I went ahead and turned my front toe in just slightly. Then, the back leg, you're going to step off the railroad tracks, but go about half the distance, right? So I'm going to step off the railroad tracks, and I'm going to point that toe back toward my knee, my heel of my front leg. I'm going to go down on my knee. Notice, this shin is vertical, right? My body is straight up and down. And then I'm going to rise halfway up, okay? And I'm going to hold this for about 10 to 15 seconds, right? I should have good tension. Notice, I'm already shaking, guys. My back quad is engaged. My front hamstring is engaged. I'm here. Then, when I recover out of this position, I'm going to recover properly. Slide the front foot back. Step up with the back foot. Okay? Always recover properly. Nail that into your psyche. This is what I want to do. Okay? So again, we're going to do that one time, and then we're going to do some split jerks. But I want to show you again. Step off the railroad tracks. Again, my toe kind of pointed in. Step about halfway back off the railroad tracks. Go down your knee, straight up and down, drive halfway up, and hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. Once you recover, front foot slides halfway back foot steps up to join. Important thing here, guys, and I'm going to take off my lifters to show you. And actually, I'll take off my sock, my front sock too. Important thing, when you do the front foot and you go down here, you go here, and you stand up, this whole foot should be engaged on the ground. That big toe should be driving into the ground. You should not be here, right? Big toe driving straight into the ground. Slide back and step forward. I can't even recover wrong even when I'm wearing one sock, right? So then, once we do one of those, we can jump over and do some split jerks, okay? My advice is to do a 1-in-1 combo. You can do 5 to 6 sets of it, but I would do the first one with a pause in the dip. Then without re-dipping, go straight into the split jerk, and then do one with a split jerk. So, you can take this off the rack, you can clean it. I really don't care how you get it into the front rack position, right? So, we're going to come here. We're going to bury our ribs, getting a nice solid core. Take a big breath. Dip, pause, 2, and then we're going to, without re-dipping, drive straight up and receive the bar. Step back. Now we're going to go into a split jerk. Okay, if you end up finding yourself forward, push yourself back into the proper position and recover. Guys, you don't need a barbell to do this. Use a PVC pipe, okay? Be a little bit lighter, but you know what? Use a broomstick, I don't care. Drill the technique, okay? Technique over weight every single time. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. Have a good one, guys.